Hi guys, how are you? I hope you're well. I'm well myself, very blessed of the Lord. And this morning I'm just coming, just before we go to Dandora, my home, where I grew up, and what I found there. I realized that there were some things that God was bringing to memory, and I feel like it's important to mention them because they were part of the journey. Yeah. And even now, I'm just realizing just how important a lot of things were that God was revealing, and why He took me into the places He took me before He allowed us to go home. Yeah. So the thing about God is that when He's using you and using your family, to deliver, he will ensure that he takes you to all these places. Yeah. And it will be his bill. Yeah, I can tell you, none of even the cash that we use, none of it do we miss now. Yeah, none of the experiences is wasted. I don't feel the pain anymore. Okay. And I think I said in one of the videos how everything used to feel just so difficult for me. Every burden so heavy, right? Every attack so amplified, and it was so that I could recognize what it was, right? A person who is doing a different journey will feel like, oh, this is part of life, this is what I have to do to get to where I am going, and so perhaps they'll just not really breeze through it. They will feel the fatigue to a point where they'll be able to relate. But you find that you as a person feel things more, and that is because you're meant to understand. Okay, so I hope you guys have watched the previous video I released, where it's like I was meant to show you just what went into our coming together or making a peaceful home. And I have to tell you, I'm still so shy about sharing some things because, wow, where am I getting the liberty? And also just didn't know just how deep it is. Yeah, when I called my husband Abraham, Father Abraham, I didn't know just how deeply that felt, that went. Yeah. And as we settled into this home, I didn't realize it was something I was saying, but I didn't even realize just how much God was using this home through every member of this family to heal others. Yeah. And I remember at some point I attended a certain church, yeah, when we came into Worcester, and my prayer every time that I wanted to pray, I would feel like I want to pray for the students who come here alone, and I didn't know where that was coming from. Yeah. And so it's so interesting that before we went to Kenya, right, as God was healing us, I remember just telling my husband, I love that you have this open arm policy. Yeah, like we could all walk into his arms and he hugs us. Like every time you need a hug, this guy is open to give a hug, just comfort. And the thing about him is that he doesn't teach with words, he teaches by action. Yeah. And I would see this turnaround where the kids are so comfortable, helpful, just because he was doing the same. Yeah. And he was setting this huge example, and I didn't recognize it at first. Yeah. But gradually, we could see how just having this man in our lives was healing us, and we were so appreciative of it. Yeah. And now it's like we were healed enough for God to now keep sending other people into our lives. Yeah. And I would see some kids that would come through Michael. And I remember when we went home, I would when guys are asking us about the kids, I would say, oh, they're all fine, so and so is doing this, so and so is doing this, and we would be tickled at what Mike does, because he would bring some kids from college whenever he met people, because he's such a people's guy. Yeah. He would bring people home, right? He expects that when he brings people home, I will cook for them and all of that. Yeah, and it would be just so funny. And also, there was always food, And I always used to say this thing about a Meru home. It's like you can never miss food in a Meru home. Like we always, nourish our guests, right? So it's a thing. It's always been with me, though I'm not Meru. And, the other day, I don't know why I couldn't finish these sentences, but we had some guests, and I was saying, the thing about a Meru home, you will always be fed, okay? And the thing about a Gikuyu home, because people were like, oh, how about a Gikuyu? I wasn't ready. But I was thinking later about the song we sing that, when we are welcoming guests, yeah, who come for like some traditional event, we will sing Wero Kamuna Wakinya kwa Maikoe City Down. We welcome guests, right? So that's the Kikuyu aspect of it. And the Meru, you will always find food in a Meru home, right? So even when things were so difficult, we could always feed ourselves, right? Our family, we could always take care of that angle, even if not other things, right? And I remembered how Happy would ensure that every Friday he takes us out, despite the issues, financial issues and everything, yeah. And I would be so impressed, like, how do you even do this? And we know how things are. And he would be like, no, let's just have to treat the kids. They have to know, like they have to enjoy the same things that other people enjoy, even if you're not, we don't have money. And so this thing would grow into where Mike is bringing kids and they would get hugs, they would get food and all of that. Yeah, I don't even know if it made an impact to them, but it continued, yeah. So Mike was learning his lessons, meeting people, doing his choosing, but whenever he would bring people, yes, they would find that kind of welcome, and if they want food, they don't always want food, they would find, a hot meal, yeah. So yeah, we were recognizing that, and it would be anybody. But at this point, we had learned, yeah, and Happy was very keen on this, like, be careful. This is not, home, because I used to be the same. I bring people, whoever wants to pass by. I'll make you, an omelette, something quick. Whatever, people would always feel like very welcome in our home, right? But in this journey now, God was showing us that it's not everybody that comes with a good intention, okay? And so along the way, I would notice, like, there was this particular kid who did not like me at all. No matter what I tried to charm her, to cook for her, this kid did not like me, right? And, I noticed, and at some point I even said, I don't think this kid likes me, yeah? Because others would come like so humbly, so, Mama Mike, and all, but I would notice this kid is not impressed. In fact, I was very in admiration of how staunch she is, yeah? Like, she's not moved by anything, but it was only to me. She's friendly to everyone else. Oh, she laughs at her at my husband's jokes, yeah. And now this has become like Father Abraham, right? But yeah, I would notice that and be like, wow, okay, that's strange, yeah. So yeah, so we continued for the longest time, yeah. So all these kids are welcome home, and anyway, there's nothing you can do when your kids bring people home. You just note, right? You just note what is happening. Me also, I was bringing people home because I would meet some customers, they're so broken. And I'm like, you know what? If we continue the conversation, I would want to be friends with some people, right? And then within, a few months of knowing them, you see some things that you don't want to be involved with, yeah? Some you see that all the conditions they have, perhaps they're healing with alcohol, some are just, so... like they're going through it, and some are even married, right? But they're going through the most in their marriages. Perhaps it's the woman, especially in this arena. A lot of women have broken through. A lot of women started the journey like my husband started, and by the time their husbands are joining them, they're so old country, they're so Kenyan, so set still in their ways, and they cannot adjust to the change fast enough. And so it brings a lot of quarrels in the home, a lot of disagreements, a lot of disgruntlement, yeah? And so even though the kids will still need both parents, you see it's a huge sacrifice, it's a lot of pain, it's a lot of, disagreements in the family, it's a lot of, eventually, divorces, it's a lot of threats to divorce. And so when that happens, you see a lot of people get lost in this country, right? Because they do not have a family anymore. They get so lost and twisted. They look for other people. They try to survive, yeah? Because there's always that, feeling I can survive here. There's, and you consider the papers you have or what options you have. You find you can survive here, right? So... but some people get so beaten, so heartbroken, so confused. They don't want to, because once you leave home, even if you go back, you will never be the same again, okay? And so in my line of business, I would meet people, like we would go somewhere and we see a lot of young, young men, so broken, so drunk, they gave their lives to alcohol and drug habits, okay? I was like, I don't know how that happens. It's just so bad. I hope none of us ever end that way, okay? But it's funny, but God was just allowing me to see that, and it would be a long time before God revealed this. And he was, when my chapati business died and I'm feeling all these issues, although I'm like, okay, moving ahead to other things, yeah? So God would, show me, because I was feeling very guilty. This is something God started. I even had printed shirts, yeah, showing Chapati Tano, God's idea, right? And so it was laughable, the things I was doing, the things I was getting into, really, really laughable, right? Because what are you getting into and out of things like this, yeah? And so later God now, I think, as he was leading us and we were submitting to his will, just trying to be so open to understand what is going on, God would show me this was not about the business at all. What? Yeah, it wasn't about the business. It was for you to meet these people and understand, okay? So as you know, guys, from the beginning I said I will be using my family as a case study of the consequences of being being afflicted by witchcraft, and also the idea that a lot of people, a lot of our forefathers went into idol worship. They moved away from worshiping Jehovah, okay? And so all this thing that we have seen, all this poverty, all this confusion in families, it is as a result of what our forefathers came into, okay? And now, even if we have prayerful people in the family, even if we have people who are stayed in him and, seeking him in all ways, yes, they will be blessed because, of that Ezekiel 18, right? That continues to explain that even though the fathers did this, if you're a good person, you will be rewarded for your goodness, okay? And so you will find that some homes are just, like sheltered, yeah? Some homes are blessed in their ways, yeah? So even if there is this curse, there is this situation, there's this affliction, God will make sure that he brings you into he'll bring you around some people who will bless you, right? Because you never get this blessing right from home, right? You get this eternal blessing from home, but you have to go out and mix with people in order to gain continuity, or get ease of life, ease of work, yeah? You have to sell, you have to trade with other people, marry other people. There are things you won't get from home, like a marriage, a spouse, businesses. You have to actually go out and trade with people, all right? And so God will use all these people that he's blessed with different things. Some would be your protectors, some will be people who trade with you from time immemorial, even before the slave trade started, yeah? There were these long distance traders like the Akamba. For the Agikuyu, we knew the Akamba to be long distance traders that would go even up to the coastal region of Kenya and trade with those people. So we would exchange our wares with them and they would go that far. They were smart in so many things, including crafts and all of that, right? And so these different people entering our lives meant different things in different season, okay? You remember from the first time I told you that when my mom was was bewitched to almost a point of death, she would be taken to Ukambani to find healing, okay? And that did not start just then, okay? If you study the history, or if you study the Bible, when the fallen angels came into the earth because they fell in love with the women, human women, right? They would teach them a lot of crafts, okay? So a lot of heavenly secrets that are not supposed to be released into the world as they were released, God will reveal some magic to you, yeah? Some wonderful things into your lives because you're submitted to him, but in the right way, so that it's not used to afflict or manipulate other people's lives, yeah? But it can be used as, healing, as protection, okay? So that is how God uses different people who he allows to come into your life for whatever affliction or whatever problem you could be in. They will be the ones to take you out. In our family, like I've said, he has used twice, he has used Meru men to marry us, yeah, as we battle these anti-marital altars in our particular family, okay? And so I would see that, yeah, like this guy is continuing that thing of, you know, being a father to all, right? And it was so beautiful to see, okay? But just like in the beginning when we were forming our little family, we would see some people come around us and, you know, it would be like, yeah, my heart, you know, is, you know, like, I know this is not good, and it would never end up well, yeah? And so I would see God now introducing that same aspect, and this time he would be like, that one has to go, okay? And sometimes some were taken out immediately, some were kept until a point, yeah, where I would know what is going on, okay? Or God would reveal. And some are children, you still just want to protect them. You're like, okay, I don't understand this kid, but they'll still get fed, they'll still get, you know, comfort in this home, because that is what we are called for. And after doing my journey, I'm like, no, I'm not rejecting anyone unless God removes them himself, okay? But still God wants to edify. That is why he wants you to be involved in some things, okay? So we'll of course keep touching on these things as we go on, but I have to tell you, just before as we were doing this business, yeah, this chapati business, I would one time see a vehicle on our driveway, yeah, a red car with a moonroof, okay? And so I wanted, I think I've told you a few times about, you know, the way God was using us. Even though my husband is very, very well educated, it's like some things were just a struggle. We, as the first ones to do this journey, some things were so hard to come by, yeah? So for the longest time, we were using his car, and, you know, it reached a point where even with my job, I needed an extra car, right? But we were like, how? You know, we are trying to get out of debt. So we are not going to get into debt no matter what is offered, and things will be offered. Things will be thrown to you in this America. As soon as you get a job, you get offer for credit cards, you'll get, you know, a car, offered cars, you know, you'll be, you know, notified that now you know, if your credit is very good, you can buy a house, okay? A lot of people get into that and sometimes fail up ahead, yeah? Because you got into all of that, but you're not able to keep up because the work is very difficult, and perhaps sometimes you don't know what the journey, what your particular journey is about, because everybody is set on a different path, you know? And whatever path you're on is supposed to redeem the people back home, okay? And also set you onto a journey that will introduce now this, you know, continuity of blessing, a continuity of blessing into your children, you know, into your generations, right? But a lot of people don't get to go even there, right? They don't get to get that because of all the machinations the devil has against you. He wants you to be destroyed, you and your generations, yeah? And so you see a lot of that confusion coming in. You're riddled in debt, and now you're being pulled back and forth. And we are in the generation where our parents want us to take care of them and also do the things that, you know, we think to do when we come into a blessing. If you get a job, you're supposed to build for your parents first. But had we been in a generation of blessing, your father would build for your mother, and this would be Big Mama's house, right? And then you, the new generation, get to build for your own, because there's not a large enough life you have or a huge blessing that you're able to take care of all these people. But we don't know that, yeah? So whoever comes through, whoever finds a blessing in the family, all of us will be, you know, pulling at them. And when I gave you the family structure, I was showing you how sometimes even your sibling is like your in-law, okay? So this familiar spirit will use them to really bring you down. Like they're demanding, you know, whatever you get is ours. You're supposed to help us. We gave you a girl or something like that, yeah? And so it's just a lot of this thing is not just on the physical. It's a lot of spiritual warfare, okay? And unless you understand clearly what is happening, you'll be pulled in all directions. You'll try to please everybody. and you will lose the new thing that God gave you in order to build from. Okay, a lot of people also forget that when you come here, you start from scratch. Okay, you have left everything, including that inheritance. You're building from nothing. Okay, so nobody gives you that much time because they don't want you to forget. All right, so as soon as you come into something, they are asking, and it's not just here. You find some people who live the rural area and go to maybe Nairobi. I had a story of one man one old guy, yeah, who was demanding from the son, like, I need this, I need you to take care of this at home. And this guy was like, oh, I will take care of it. I'm really trying. I want to just take my kid to high school first. It was like, the old man asked this son, is your child more important than us? And that is so unscriptural, because the Bible says a good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. Okay, so the third generation, or is it the fourth? To his children's children. Yeah, it's like the third generation, yeah? So you're supposed to actually be passing this blessing down, but no, this kid will not go to school because grandpa needs something done in the rural area. You know, it's very strange, and it's happening, and it's been normalized in our society. Okay, so what does God intend to do with all these things, with all these people he's sending to you? First of all, he wants you to stand on your feet, okay, on your 10 toes, and communicate what you're going through. Do not pretend. Do not say, oh, it's nice here, you know. Perhaps sometimes you don't even know enough to know whether it is nice or it is hard or all that, yeah. He wants also your people to understand that this journey is not what they think it is, okay. Perhaps sometimes you're just fighting their altars, and that is why you will not come into money until they understand where this money is coming from, yeah? Because it's been like people don't even care if you steal, just as long as you bring it, yeah? A lot of Africans are being arrested because of the things they've done. You know, they've come here, tried to, you know, fleece the government and all of that. All the time the FBI is watching, and they get arrested, they get traced back to where they're taking this money back in the country. Do you understand just how crazy this is? And now when this person is arrested, all of you guys are like, oh, they were a thief. You didn't care. You were just asking for all these labels, all these things, all these new houses, yeah? And you're like, even young children, like Akina wa Jesus, are building for their parents. Who are you not to? And you are abroad. What are you doing there? You do not understand the wa Jesus perhaps have come into that generational blessings, okay? And so that is the difference, you see. You understand? And so, yeah, God was showing me... you know, that he promised us a car, okay? So I saw that red car and I didn't know, yeah, and I was saying all this to say we've not had to actually save for particular things, okay? So it would be him doing a thing at his time, because he promised that, yeah, he would promise in everything. Before we enter a season, he would show us a thing, yeah? And so we would be like, okay, I don't know when this will come, but wow, that was a nice car I saw in that dream or in that vision, yeah? And the vision is for a set time, okay? Though it tarries, wait for it, okay? So yeah, that is when the promise was made. And yeah, I wanted to mention that so that after this visit to Dandora, I'll tell you how things happened, okay? Now, another thing that God was reminding me that I thought was just my own was that while I was working in Dieppe, yeah, like I told you, I stopped working during the day and I would work at night because I would work alone. It involved a lot of cleaning, a lot of things, yeah. And there was a point, yeah, where I became like a night superstar. I would work the front and work the kitchen, and you know, all these praises would be said. And whenever I worked with certain managers, it's like they're trying to disprove this thing that has been said, yeah. But it was all good, yeah. So one time, yeah, I would meet this old man, okay? Every time that I'm leaving the premises in the morning, because I would work 10:30 to 6, 10 to 6, yeah? He would say hello, and I would say hello back, okay? And sometimes stop, ask what are you reading, and just go, okay? But eventually we got to know each other, and we would talk about the books we are reading and all of that, yeah? And so this guy would keep talking to me about, do you know what the Baptists did? And I was like, what? Who? He would talk mostly about religion, and he would show me books he's reading. One like was written by a Catholic priest, yeah, about how when the Baptist missionaries went into Canada, they would give gifts. Just like in Africa, they would give gifts to the natives that would be laced with things like diseases, yeah, and bed bugs and such things, yeah. And so these people, they would afflict these people this way, okay. Now I said the Baptist because that is what this man told me. I never researched, I never, you know, looked into it. But then so he would tell me these things, and I would be like, oh wow, so how did that affect the natives? And he would tell me, but he would tell me, you know, it's no longer about the natives because the government is reimbursing and all of that, yeah, trying to make up for all these things that were done. But do you know what, Margaret? Can you see our children? I'll be like, yeah, I see your children. Can you see the drug habits? And I would remember a time when I used to work during the day, this shop where I used to do better than this main branch. Okay, so there were times where the government would release a stipend, yeah, called GST. Every 3 months, the government of Canada would give a certain amount, something like 200 and something, to every person who is who qualifies. So this would be the citizens, the permanent residents, and all of that, yeah. Now when the citizens got this stipend, when the citizens got this stipend, they would come to McDonald's to buy food, okay. And it would be a lot of homeless people. And the lady there, because she was a clean freak, and she used to say, I have OCD, you guys, I cannot stand this smell. Perhaps if somebody comes with a strong perfume, or now this smell that these people would come with, she would freak out. She would be so mad. Like, what is happening? Why are they, you know, coming to this establishment? They should go somewhere else, okay? So I would be so curious. It would be a long queue. We would be busy non-stop working until these people are gone, right? So mostly these were homeless, yeah, and almost all of them had drug habits. And this would be like parents, you know, children, you know, teenagers, okay? You see a teenager, a very handsome kid or a very cute girl, they're deep in addiction, okay? So like how you see the chocoras with glue. And so, yeah, it would take me back to that, and I would be so curious, okay? So this man would talk so slowly, but now I became so invested with the things that he's saying. So I would sit for about an hour with him, talking with him in the morning. And I don't even remember what happened, because suddenly I wasn't seeing him. I was just engrossed in my problems, yeah? Yeah, so he would tell me this is God's revenge on us Canadian people because of what the Baptist missionaries did. They came in with all these gifts, and later all these people would come and they take over the native land. And I was like, wow, do you know such things happen to in Africa? You know, where missionaries came with these gifts, and I don't know what happened, but it's like our minds were numbed and we allowed all these things to happen. And before we knew it, we were colonized. And you said the same thing happened here, and now we see a lot of pain with our children. Our children will never become who they were supposed to become because of all these drug habits, okay? So they're going down. We are losing our children. And now what happens when we die? You know, and now all these people, all of you guys are coming because you have to support us with pension. You have to work and generate the pension. These are the same things that the guy I lived in his house the first time I came into this place would say, okay, and he would say things like, we appreciate you immigrants, because by you guys coming here, no matter who attacks you, you should know that you're actually coming to help, okay? You're not coming to destroy us. You're not, you know, there's nothing you're taking from us. You're actually working to help pay for the pensions, you know, of the older people, for them to be taken care of, okay? Because now it's like, since the baby boomers, they're not producing enough children, okay? So they want us, they're taking us, okay? For to work, they're taking, you know, African refugees, you know, because of war and famine and all of these things. We are coming in droves into these places, yeah? and we want, you know, to work, right? We come here, we want to work, we are very, very dedicated, right? But now what happens when we stop working because all of these problems that you are facing, okay? So you'll find that places like Canada, there's all this government help, government stipends, they take care of our children. They want the parents to be motivated to work and also take care of the young person who is coming up so that they will work because, you know, ultimately we'll be able to help each other, okay? So I understood from this old man, he could see and he was very afraid. And let me tell you, this guy was old. He even had like a prostate issue, like a prostate cancer, yeah. And so sometimes would be like, oh Margaret, I need to go take a leak, you know, just wait for me, but if you feel like going home, you can go. I understand you worked all night, but I love talking to you and I love talking to him as well. These were gems, okay? So he was dropping, but let me tell you, when these people, when the people who break through and come to this land, we think they're just coming to get money, you know, that is falling from trees or paving the, you know, the pavements. But I know now people know better because there's been so much, you know, information being, you know, there's information everywhere, okay? Even our people are learning, they are growing, they are understanding, okay? Even my people are learning so much, okay? One of the people who is my biggest supporter is my sister. She's learning, she's seeing all these things and she's like, wow, you know, I didn't even know how deep this goes, yeah? But, you know how Psalms 102 and 13 says, now it is your time to be remembered, yeah? God is turning his face towards you, okay? Now the firstborns came, you know, the firstborns of the children of Africa came because, you know, a way was made for them. You guys would disturb them. They would build homes for the parents and all of that because they are good children. The middle children came, they were afflicted. They talked about these things. You guys did not listen. Now the lastborns have come. You people think we will keep taking it? We want to help. We want to build homes, you know, for our parents, but we want to be heard. Now the lastborn is a different creature, okay? These people have grown watching the family, watching. Just let me tell you, even if this lastborn is not like the chosen one in the family, they have been watching. I know my lastborn is not somebody to play with, okay? They watch and they call out behavior. Let me tell you, we stay well behaved around this guy, okay? Now there are things he cherishes about the family. And, you know, just a lot of things he learns and a lot of things he grows from, yeah? He's building his life. Since time immemorial, he has said, me, I'm not building for any parent. You guys better know and better understand I'm not your retirement plan, yeah? We laugh about it, but we know. He's only saying these things because he has watched the whole family, okay? He understands. He doesn't even have to be told. Each one of your child is very special. Each one of your child is communicating something very meaningful to the family, yeah? If you hear, if you listen to them, well and good. If not, there's going to be trouble, okay? Now, back to my family as we're coming to them. And I want to say that God, even through all this journey, yeah, God was helping me understand. Even the places I went to, I would look at a place where I go, you know, and try to understand the spiritual arena of it, yeah. And I want to tell you, even before we go home, I would tell my mother since a long time ago, can you sell this place? Because this place, the property that they live in was my grandmother's, okay? And I told you when I was doing the illustration, my grandmother and my mother never used to fight, okay? My mother was, you know, not a model child, but they had this deep understanding that I now understand was spiritual, okay? And so it's like my grandmother could entrust even her property with this one. Me, I was like, sell this property. Divide the money, okay? And so the person, we didn't know what was happening, but the real reason I was going home was to observe. And I keep saying we are the only married couple. We are not. It was to observe the next marriage in our home, okay? And I remember at some point I felt relaxed. Okay, this next marriage is gonna take over from us, take care of the burden, you know. I didn't know what burden it was. I could not name it an altar, okay? They will take care of the spiritual arena, and now we can breathe, my husband and I, yeah? I did not know it because we only know in part, but this is the family now I was about to meet and now understand what is going on, okay? And I didn't even understand until I was back here, okay? So a lot of the things I talk about in the next video, but this is what so my mom could never let go of this property. I did not understand why until later now, where we are practically fighting these altars. Apparently when grandma entrusted this property into her hands, she knew, she understood how much the mother treasured this, even though a lot of times if you ask her, we would say, how would she know? She was always aware when grandma would say things like, this is my house, I built it myself, nobody is going to bring me to give me problems. This is my house, if you want to go, go. And for me, I would be so afflicted. One time I was like, I'm not drinking milk from your goat and I don't want to live here, I will run away. And I would run away, and go live with my auntie who I'm named after, okay? And grandma would come to fetch us there, because she treasured us as kids. But who is she dealing with? Another generation, okay? Me, you don't treat me badly, I will run, I will go and stay where I'm wanted, okay? So there were all these things, and I didn't know my mom understood this as much, okay? So she's holding this property, even though she's not enjoying living here. It is not a good place, she would want better, but she set on living here. Why? I didn't know until I knew, okay? So because God was revealing only in part. And so when I went home, I didn't know that God wanted me to see home as it was then, okay? So I'm hating, I'm angry, I'm making noise, okay? I'm like, why is this place like this? Why are you guys not improving? Mom, if you decided to stay here, I can't force you to sell. But why is this place not improving, Why are you not putting your foot down? Where is your authority? Okay, so I'm challenging her authority. I didn't know it, but this was all about the marriage in their family and what altars it had encountered. And I'm telling you, God had to raise a man to stand. Yeah, so in the same way that my husband was standing, I did not know it, but my cousin was also standing the same way. And this guy's name is Njuguna. Now I might have to take you to my whiteboard and just illustrate a bit about this Njuguna. Every person in your family is so important, you have no idea, and God is using them for a different thing. And I didn't even know that what was happening with this guy. We were just so mad that he wasn't, standing, and fighting, okay? Because a lot was not working the way we expected, okay? So this, as a young man, we are like, no, you have to stand, you have to speak, you have to do this and that, yeah? Because we want things done chap chap. We did not know it, and I would later come to say, this guy's name has him held here against something that he can understand. Yeah, this guy is held here by his name, okay? So I was challenging him, you have to leave this place, you have to leave, go build somewhere else, because then you will be free of this name, okay? But it turns out that, yeah, there are some things we had to understand about the marriages in our family and the altars thereof. So as we break off, because this is also still the fourth generation, yeah, I could not see this man the way God wanted me to see him. He was being very patient, very calm, okay? It was driving his wife crazy. I understood his wife. I could not understand this man and what position God had allowed him to play until now, okay? So we are gingerly coming to this now, but I will show you who this man is in this whiteboard. Yeah, so allow me to explain that, okay? And as we do this, yeah, you guys, I want you to start analyzing your families and seeing where you fit in. There's one viewer who is doing a very good job of that, and I know it's going to, she's going to come to understanding because she's very well chosen in her family, and I encourage you guys to do the same. Yeah, just know that you're not, look, your breakthrough, your journey abroad or wherever it is you are was not just for you, okay? We do not go through anything for just us. God does not heal us and bring us into soft lives just for us, okay? We are doing this thing for the whole family to be, broken out of these evil altars, okay? So let's do that shortly. Hi guys, so I know the last time I showed you my mom's genealogy, where she comes from. Let's say this is Njoki family. This is my family. We call our family Njokina. Our family is registered as a chama, okay? We call ourselves Njokina from my grandma, okay? So her name, Njokina, her children. When I tell you that we have been working on this family to revive it, to keep ourselves together as a small family, it's deeper than you would think, okay? So everything up to this point has been so God-led, and we just didn't get it, okay? But now we are learning, all right? So my mother come from, again, Njoroge plus Nduta, okay? Njoroge beget Njuguna plus Njoki, okay? Now while I do this, there is I don't know why I don't know my grandmother's father's name, but there was on this side Wanjiko, and I don't know if my grandpa is called Motembora or Gatamuka, I don't know, plus Motembora. Let me do it like that, yeah? So Wanjiko gets this Njoki, okay? This Njoki that was married to Njuguna, and I'll do this Wanjiko, okay, and then Njoki. So you see Wanjiko Njoki, okay, and Nduta over here, stranger danger, okay? So Nduts is a stranger. You can see the names don't even appear. The names are not the same, okay? So Njoki begets Wanjiko, 5th generation, and this girl would be called Nduta, except for the fact I told you about Joy, except for the fact that she Njoki named her after her father's mother, okay? So different family, different altars, okay? And so you know about Nduta, which is me and my people, okay? So this Njuguna and Njoki get, now I will tell you who they get, okay? Nduta is the firstborn. Nduta, and now my grandpa's sister, let's call her Wamboi. That's not the exact name, but it's something similar. It's just that in this family they call it a different way, okay? Nothing to it. Wanjiko. Now between the twins, these are twins, okay? Between the twins and my mother was a boy called Njoroge, this name, but he passed away shortly after birth, okay? So there was a boy here. So we won't go into him because he didn't live long enough, okay? And now later, 8 years after my grandpa's disappearance, in the Gikuyu culture, there's something that is done, okay? Now, when a man has a family, right? A man from a different family has his family, he will breed something called wild oats, okay? He will get a child out of wedlock just to ensure if there is a genetic problem in his family, he gets another child outside who may not suffer this genetic problem, and so there will be a continuity of his bloodline, okay? So people don't talk about these things, in the family. The wife may or may not know. It's just not a problem. It's acceptable in the family. So this lady's husband disappears, and it seems he's not coming back. And so there comes a lady, okay? So grandma gets a child, yeah? This child was so precious to me, but in a way, she's like a scapegoat, okay? Why do I say that? This girl was gotten out of that kind of cultural understanding, okay? And for some time, I think there was just struggle between her and grandma, okay? So this child and grandma had it, would be at loggerheads most of the times as I'm growing up and see. But this child now is in the family, okay? And so she gets 2 sons, yeah? Okay, so this is very difficult to talk about, but I'll tell you something. When this child gets married, okay, and this is the first marriage I get to actually witness as it's happening. She actually got a child first, okay? She gets Njuguna and Njoroge, okay? So she names these children in the family, okay? This Njuguna was gotten at home. So that is why if this lady had gotten married and went away, had gotten married and gotten this child out of wedlock, in a marriage, he would be named something else, okay? But this child is my auntie, okay? Fell in love with this wonderful guy that we all liked, okay? But she got this baby while still at home. So she names him her supposed father, okay? So, and gets another. This happens after she goes away. She elopes with this wonderful guy because he has every intention of marrying her. But grandma was never in agreement. So even when they go away with their child, this child keeps having health issues, and so they come back, okay? And she comes back pregnant with this one. Now she gets this same child back at home and names her Njoroge. So the great grandpa, because her grandpa, not great grandpa, her grandpa, because she's in the 3rd generation, okay? And so I see a lot of pain with this one. I see a lot of tears. I see a lot of misgivings. I see a lot of bitterness towards her mother. And her mother would be quiet whenever this lady, is angry and facing all this bitterness, yeah? But she continues to raise her children in this home, okay? So these children are my playmates. I'm babysitting them. I'm very happy that they are in our lives, okay? But I don't understand what kind of pain they are going through until I go home and they actually talk about their father. Me, I'm not a secret keeper. I'm the biggest problem this family ever experienced, yeah? Because I'm a truth teller. And I told them about their father, okay? Because I had met their father, okay? And I didn't know, but these guys had been in turmoil, wondering, who is our father? Where did he go? I had gone through the same, wondering, who is my father? Where did he go? Didn't he love me enough to stay with me? Okay, so we have this family meeting where I tell them all about their father. And I tell them, actually, your father is alive, okay? So if you want, you can find him. At this point, this guy is 40 years old. A lot of things happen when you're 40, okay? And now this guy has gone through a lot of problems since he was a child, okay? To a point where now we are like, this guy will go to approved school or whatever. Very, very nice guy. The kind you see suffering in the family and you don't understand what is this that is happening with this child, This child at least had drugs refused him. If he ever tried even to smoke marijuana, he would have to go to hospital. Okay, I remember times when my sister would take this child to hospital because he smoked something. Okay, so all of that refused him, but no work no school, nothing, So we are looking up to this one to just be the savior of the family. Okay, this one, a complete introvert, works from home and all of that. Okay, so from what I've gone through, I kind of understand this one. And now watch this. This boy, he can do no wrong in my eyes. But if I thought I love him, my husband embraces this child as much as he kind of embraced me. Okay, so sold out to this child, always asking, what do you want to do? Do you want to do driving? Whatever you want, just tell me. Yeah, whenever he he has shoes that don't fit or something, is like Njoroge is the one closest, in shoe size with me. So this is Njoro's everything, Njoroge, everything, to a point where it would cause envy. Okay, so why this child? Okay, so now let me tell you something about a protected child, which is what my husband kind of seems to be. Although what he's gone through is so hard, yeah, it doesn't seem like he's protected in any way. he will protect others. He will protect that child who is suffering out there. And you guys are like, this child ametuchokesha. We are tired of this child. He never does anything right, okay? He will protect him. You know, to a point, I'm like, we also need this guy to learn. But this time we find him saved, you know, going to church, you know, still a very good preacher. In fact, we come at a point where he's in fasting and he's like, I can't eat anything. You can clearly tell that God is working in this fourth generation, yeah? But we don't know yet until we go home. And now this one is married to a girl that I'm forever defending, okay? I don't want to hear nothing, okay? Let's call her Ash, okay? Ash is a pretty girl, okay? But she comes in with her altars that at first we loved her and embraced her so much, but now it's like, I'm being told, I'm being warned, be careful with this one, okay? She's put us through so much. And at the point where we sit now, you know, I hear all the problems and I'm like, you know what? Just like the government of Canada and even what our Kenyan government does and any other government. And, you know, this girl wants to be listened to and she wants to express everything she's been going through. I don't want to be shown contempt in this family. And I'm like, but we all love you. You know what is happening? So guys, just there, I mentioned the governments to say, the government will not come and ask you, you know, at the grassroots, what do you want to see happen in the country? What they do is that they will facilitate by building roads, institutions of learning and all of that, yeah? And so we were like, we will not, you know, address personal problems. We want to just, you know, understand what is happening in this family and heal it. Okay, so everyone else should be kind of taken care of because this Njoroge now is one who is loved and treasured in the family now, right? Like if he asks for something, we all stop and try to listen, yeah? Not spoiling, only we attend to this when we are led, okay? So this is this family, okay? They have 3 boys, okay? So the first one, firstborn, Gikuyu, or as I would say, Kikuyu. Secondborn, we would assume is still the same. Thirdborn, we assume is still the same, right? Turns out it's not, okay? And I come home, I cannot connect with these 2 kids. Cannot for the life of me. I'm supposed to connect these kids with these kids, and I have just, with all these kids, I have just 1 month to do that, and I'm fretting, I'm worried what is happening, and I don't even have the words to ask, you know, anybody. I'm just like, why is it so weird I can't connect with these kids, you know? Until this one was not home when I came, and I left him born, okay? So when I see this one, I connect instantly to him. But I don't know what is going on, yeah? Because when I listen to this girl, she's saying, oh, I'm being accused that I have kids out of wedlock and all of that. I'm like, do not listen. Hang in there, okay? So this man knows everything that's going on in his family, this man. And until I start, okay, I've been praying, I've been, you know, like God put me now in charge, because this man, I found him, you know, he's lost weight and he's going through it, okay? A person beaten by the altars of the family properly. This guy could, you know, easily lose his life, yeah? He's just holding on. And I come in with my opinions and all that, and but anyway, at the end of it, I'm like, bro, if you need to talk to me, do, okay? What is the common thing that people will ask for, you know, when they want to ask for help? It will be money, you know, and I'll be like, I've given all I can, okay? Why are you asking for more? And so for the first time ever, he talks about his problems, yeah? And I'm like, this is too deep. There's no way you can come out of this, okay? What is actually happening and it doesn't tell me. But every time God will send me to fast over this child, cry over this child, you know, and I don't know what is happening. Eventually now, God will make a lot of revelations, because he was very unhappy about what was happening in this home. Very, very unhappy, to a point where he caused me to fast and pray over a long period. And now these things will start manifesting, like this guy fainting. He always like would have problems, like when he was young. That would be the main reason why the father had to return him, because he would have epileptic episodes. Okay, these things, when they happen to your family, you think, oh, somebody is sick, somebody, you know, it is spiritual, you know, altars speaking against someone. Okay, they are pulling you, they're keeping you. And I would ask, why don't you move away? I would ask this lady, have you guys planned on moving away? Because it doesn't make sense to stay somewhere just because you're not paying rent and just lose your lives. And she's like, yeah, I've wanted. This guy has an inheritance but won't move away. Why? What is in this name? Okay, what is in this name? What is in this name that would keep somebody, you know, jailed somewhere? And why? You understand? Okay, so until now, when now we are coming into this season, because once you leave, I can't keep dealing with this. But still, God, you know, keeps me in prayer. And you know, now because I talk to several people, can you go take my brother to hospital, you know, have him analyzed and all of that. Yeah, so a lot of sacrifice is going into this. We don't understand. And at some point now, God wants this girl to move away. And I'm like, you know, talking about it, why don't you move away? Give each other space, give each other time, you know, to, you know, so that everyone can think, because whatever is going on here is crazy, you know. And it turns out that this man the whole time is like a Hosea. Okay, so he's standing in the gap. He's totally, you know, protecting this woman. No matter what she does, he will, this situation that is happening is actually killing him, you know, wasting him away. But God lets it stay that way until I come home and see. Okay, so saying all this to say, whenever God, you know, takes you somewhere else, he will place things that were stolen, like authority. Okay, authority and you know, your abilities. Okay, everything. Now when God wants to restore this fourth generation, we do not have, you know, we cannot hide in secrets that we are always beaten to keep in the family. Okay, so all these things have to come out for people to understand that all these secrets are what is killing you. All these secrets are what is destroying you. What he needs, that he thinks will set him free in terms of money, you know, to get out of whatever debt he's incurred while trying to make a home with this one. Nothing will help, because his health, everything is affected, right? Because of the situation of the family. Now, do you understand what I'm trying to say with this one? When God called Hosea, right, and told Hosea that he would have to marry a prostitute in order to show the situation, or the situation in Israel. Okay, he would tell him what to name the children, and they ended up getting four children. Yeah, and later he would have to put his wife away, just the same way God had put Israel away. Okay, so real Bible stories enacted in our very lives. Why? Because who are we? Okay, that is what I want you to answer. Who are we, and why are these things happening? Okay, whenever Israel went into idol worship and sin and all these things, it would affect the children. The fathers would enjoy the fruits, whatever grapes they ate, whatever, you know, thing they benefited from, but it would be the children suffering for ages. Okay, so some would get into witchcraft so that they are able to navigate, right? In our family, there are people who did not suffer in this manner that I'm describing, and I'm telling you, your homes will mimic the spiritual situations. Okay, so you find that your home is this word, God forsaken, and me coming in, and I'm thinking, I've been, you know, I've been speaking, I'm trying to show, you know, the different things you can do, how we can help each other, how we can rise from this. I still find my home God forsaken, and it's been kept for, like this, for me to understand there's an actual curse operating in this home. A home doesn't just drop in its value, drop in its quality, drop in its when a home or a land mimics the spiritual arena of it, then you know God is showing you something. When you go somewhere and it is God forsaken, right? Like God doesn't live there. When God lives in some place, and that is why I always speak about when you get a breakthrough, even you will even smell heavenly scents, okay? Even if you're in a place that doesn't smell good, okay? So a lot of things will change. So you'll notice that when you go into a home like this, that is God forsaken, the animals, the children, the people will be broken. The animals just shout for whatever reason. They look so emaciated, and so do the children. The place does not smell good. Now, while I was in Canada, I dreamt that I went home to find the toilet blocked and the bathroom, and I had to pull up a plug, cleaning everything with power wash, only to realize that there was some excrete on a wall that would not be moved, that would not be removed no matter what I did. Yeah. And so I was about to find out why, but it was this marriage. So tomorrow we go home and we meet these people, meet this marriage, and understand why it had to be that way, why some people, some good innocent people, would have to make this huge sacrifice in order to save the family. Now, as much as we think, I used to say that God will choose one person to save the whole generation, but that is not the case. When you find that in this third generation, there was my mom fighting and others too, okay? Others would try religion, others would just try to find a way out, yeah? Others would even try the crafts, okay? Try and find a place where they could get refuge, or just some tricks to live better, to just breathe, to just be above, so that they're not afflicted with this situation they are seeing at home, okay? And in our third generation, there is these people fighting, a lot of njugunas a lot of ends actually, that are fighting, and others as well, yeah, that will come into play. I don't want to mention them yet because I don't even know how they're going to come into this story, but this one is very, very important, and that is the reason why we went home when we went home. And yeah, so you must know about it, because God allowed all these things to happen for your edification, okay? So I'll see you on the next one. God bless you as you listen and teach what what he wants you to learn. Bye bye.